Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hugh. Let's continue. So, there we had another stutter as soon as I started to record and then paused it. So either it's a case of something about the recording starting, or it's a case of pausing the game. Yeah, I don't know what it could be there. Although there is one thought. I do have Video Lane client play the videos I just recorded in between after. Interesting. So we have a black piece now that means it's always going to be here. I don't think there's a single way to get around it. But yeah, a different program playing a video should not cause your game to stutter or lag. We definitely are gonna get to that point now where it's gonna become kind of questionable as to what the actual challenge is. And see, we have like this blue section, this blue brick wall. If I was to make the blue brick wall disappear, then I can't move the blue small box. If we were to move it this way, the blue is now in the right spot. So we can rebuild a stair in this direction, or build a stair. So we very much are using our fourth color that we've unlocked as a way of moving things around. Just move that out of the way. And then we'll just turn to blue. So that's going to provide a level of safety here. So that's only going to get us so far. We need this all the way over here. Then we need to move this all the way here. It definitely feels like we're going to hit a point where you're going to be asked to be particularly efficient with your gameplay. Otherwise, you're going to spend too much time in specific rooms. What would happen if I just did that? Yeah, you can pull it from behind. And then should just be able to jump around pretty easily. There's a room that's big enough to make it feel like there should have been some kind of secret flask. Each of these rooms are separate effectively with an in and an out door. It's a very much time-honored way of designing video game levels, is to just have that entry and exit location and then cut and paste all of your sections together in playtesting at a later date. Also makes it pretty easy to I wonder if you're supposed to be able to push these. I guess you do push these. Alright. Yeah, it makes everything feel very bespoke, I guess would be the right term to use. You see it in other in other games like Portal and, well, quite a lot of other games in total. Now, in that case, where both things were pink and I made it disappear, if it were a case that the objects absolutely disappeared from the world and didn't just become invisible, then when I go back to a different color, they both should be sitting in the same spot. Whereas if they still existed in the world, me being in purple mode should have had the brick fall. So we are in a different kind of world than what I would have thought we would have been in. Which that also means to get the box to go down, I have to do something like that. It's interesting, there's little spikes here, but you would really have to screw up pretty badly to have the spikes kill you. And again, it feels like there should have been a secret in a room that big, and there wasn't. Yeah, it definitely does feel like there's room for more secret collectibles, like one secret collectible in each of the worlds. We still haven't seen any reason whatsoever that these chains would play any big role. Alright. So this feels like this is going to be a bit more challenging. So it's going to be land, change, jump, land, change, jump, land, change, jump. Didn't really know what to change to during that whole jump. Should probably figure that out before we start jumping. I think the easiest move was probably to just jump here, change to this, jump here, change not to that. Ooh. So you'd think there might be a pattern as far as what colors to go to. Let's see if we can call that out. Is it always blue, then counterclockwise to orange, then to this purple, and we're not doing any magenta? Time effectively stops when you do jump, so there really is no reason. Yeah, and you could just go to purple in that case. And maybe that means you can just be, I mean, you could have gone to magenta in that case, and then you could have done this, this, and this. And then let's go ahead and do that and that. Then we'll just go back to purple. Then we'll go to orange since we just got off orange. Then we'll go to purple. Go here and go here. I'm pretty sure there's a secret down here. But I think it's probably wise to go through the room, then go back, and then see if we can just fall off the edge and land here and collect that. So the hope there would be that that was the first collectible and that this is just a much bigger world. If that is the case, it's a very big world. We've only seen a fourth of it. Okay. Interesting how I could kind of fall off the edge there and push the box. But what am I supposed to do now? I can't jump up and I can't run. I mean, I can try and run, it's just not gonna work. So I can make a stair step to this center spot, which I imagine is part of the solution. So maybe all these blocks elsewhere are just red herrings around all of that. But no, I need to get these blocks. I can't push it any further than that. Is there some kind of insane possibility here No, you can't swap while you're inside a block. So, if I was to do that, I can't jump from that spot either. It's gotta play, it's gotta be this. This has gotta play some role. How is this gonna play out though? You push it that far. Okay. Then what? We've got all of those, and then we've got a block down there. And it's not like we have blocks of any color covering up the spike pits, so I can't really just run across. That would just kill me. Now if there's an achievement around playing this entire game without dying, that would probably be asking too much. Okay. So I guess the only thing I didn't think of was to just see, maybe we need to work our way over to this section first, which maybe that is the trick. Guess I can get to this spot, which then lets me push a block down. And this block then does nothing for me except for it puts a block here to walk there. Okay. Which to me that does imply that the solution has to be I think I get it now. I think the trick is to just move this over here and just make a slightly shorter platform. Then I can reach this spot. Then I can push that block. Okay. And so I can then push this block into that spot. And then I can pull the block from the other side into that spot. Get on the other side of it. Push it a little bit further before going purple. Pushing it the full way here to get the key. So I think probably that would mean that Push that over that way. And I imagine that is all that we needed to do to get to that point. Okay. Let's see. Let's go with purple this time. Maybe these characters aren't the same character each time. Maybe there's a whole collection, a whole species or group of people that are in robes. We're making massive amounts of progress as far as collecting the colors, but every time we get another color, I keep wanting to mix the word color and hue together. Every time we're getting another color, it does seem to me like it's decreasing the odds of actually having some kind of new gameplay mechanic being added to the game. And it does seem like there's just a high chance of redundancy here, that we're going to just have to swap between one more color, and with potential combinations increasing, it's just going to exponentially get more and more complicated with more colors.
Did you know, Hugh, that every language first has a word for black and for white, for dark and for light? The first colour described afterwards is always red. The colour of blood and wine, the colour of anger. The anger I felt when I was told my experiments had gone too far. When Dr. Gray sided with the university, stopping my research altogether. For all our languages, for all our ways to communicate. It's funny how sometimes we simply cannot. It leads people to do things they regret, to steal, to break, to forget what is important.
So maybe the character that is writing all these stories is actually the bad guy of the story. I'm not sure I fully believe that every single language first has black and white. Inherently, we haven't that many languages that aren't derivative languages, or millions of, or thousands of, if not millions of years old. Yeah, so yeah, we probably don't have that knowledge. And then just assuming red is the next word that would be added, and like I am fairly certain there's no proof of that either. I would think, if I was to guess, the first things developed in a language would be an affirmative and a negatory. Just a yes and no, which is much more helpful than black or white would be in a language. If you look at human babies, they make sounds that are just roughly grouped into I'm crying because I'm upset and my needs are not being met, versus I'm cooing and making giggling noises, and to show that I am happy and my needs are being met. I would very much be the closest to the beginnings of language we see in humans. But yeah, I don't know where the red comes from. Now, it's not inherently the case that the games need to tell the truth, or fiction needs to tell the truth. A unreliable narrator is just as acceptable in a video game as it is in anything else, and a slight poetic lie is just as acceptable in fiction in video games as it is anywhere else. That was weird. I would say just in the fact that we only found one collectible, and I definitely don't feel like it would really make sense to go back and try and get all the collectibles. I think what we're going to do is probably just play the whole game through, or at least wait until we get all the colors to try and get all the collectibles. We could certainly run around in a circle, but there really isn't a way to get backwards into the world, so you would just have to run through the whole world completely. It's kind of a musical note when you select a color that plays. There was an old point and click adventure game called Loom that was all about music and figuring out, like, there we have now the second collectible in this area. See if there's anything new to be said here. Nope, nothing new. The idea of music in a game, though, I don't think really works. So you don't see it as an element, except for in music games, where you know from the beginning that you're going into it. I just think that there are so many people, myself included, that aren't musically inclined, and as such, if there was a musical gameplay element in a game, still can't reach that spot, can we? It would just be difficult. It would potentially be too difficult for players. Of course, if you're selling a musical game, people know it's going to be musical inclined, so you don't have that problem. In this case, I think the music and the notes are probably just there, so it's not just absolute silence when you swap, but it does come off as potentially out of theme, I guess might be the way to go. Now look on the edges here, which we're still just seeing black and white. You see little bricks and rocks, and then when we start to walk here, it starts turning into more hieroglyphic patterns. Interesting. And we have what looks like Anubis, and is that Set, the Egyptian cat god? I'm not sure. So there definitely looks like there is going to be an Egyptian theme to this area. So the locations on the map are also roughly where they are in the real world. We are in the cave right now. If you went to the top right, you'd get to the waterfalls. If you took the mid right, you would hit the fire temple. If we go all the way down, we're going to some kind of light bulb section, which, interesting, we did see a light bulb, which might mean something. This does seem like there's a certain level of modern technology in the lighthouse and in that area, and the university feels like modern technology, just looking at it on the map, and the boats look like modern technology, but all the locations and temples are flames and torches, trying to be looking more ancient. So it's kind of a quick split there. If we look at the colors, I mean, if we were to do Roy G. Biv, the colors of the rainbow, you have red, orange, there should be green, then there should be blue, and then there should be indigo, and then there should be violet, which that weirdly puts a color here extra and the color here extra. And I wouldn't really say that this pinkish violet really is close to red, like on any kind of scale. Yeah, I could see where you'd think pink might be just a half purple and half red, but on the visible light spectrum, pink isn't anywhere close to red. Yeah. And honestly, if it weren't for the fact that the visible light spectrum is literally built by the frequencies that the wavelengths of light are responding to, I think there probably would be room for more debate as to how colors are organized. But no, because it's a hard scientific number, it's very, very obvious that you should sort colors by the wavelengths: red, orange, green, blue, Roy G. Biv. Yeah. I don't think there's any other way to really do it. That being said, the color pickers we see in software still aren't particularly great if you're trying to name a very specific color on a wider color palette, much wider color palettes, like 32-bit, 64-bit colors. Getting the exact color is very difficult at that point. You have to just know the hexadecimal code number at that point, and getting consistent. And unfortunately, in the real world, outside of computer programming, colors are somehow under some kind of trademark or copyright, and you have Pantone in particular, or is it called Pantone, that sells extremely expensive color sampling swatches and sets a standard for colors for people printing. And in the world of science, as we're inventing new materials to make even blacker blacks that absorb more of the visible light spectrum, we're getting things like Vanta Black and a new one called Singularity, and those are incredibly expensive materials to then represent incredibly dark blacks. Black itself not really a color, instead being the absence of light, and white itself not really being a color on the color spectrum, being the combination of all light. People often call it white light, but in reality it should be called clear light, because it's just clear. You don't actually see it. And black, in the same way, probably shouldn't be called black, because black is sometimes a color, at least digitally, where we don't really have great technologies or any technologies that would stop a screen from being reflective or a pixel from being reflective. OLED is better about that, where you have deeper, inkier blacks, but it's still a case where light is bouncing off the glass in front of the OLED screens, and so you are having some level of reflection when a pure scientific black like Vanta Black is much closer to just absorbing all light. A perfectly null light would be a better term for black, frankly. A black hole, for instance, I guess, is the observable thing in the universe that is actually black. And that happens by, and that really is only at the center of the black hole, because we still see light being bent around the gravitational well of a black hole, and light still is able to escape on the edges of a black hole. It's only at the center of the black hole that the gravity is so strong that even light is being sucked in. And that is real null light. That is real black, would be a black hole absorbing the actual photons so that they could not be reflected into your eyeballs, into your visual receptors. Anyways, I've probably gone on a little bit of a tangent here. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, and keep on watching. Thanks.